Welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 7, solving a quadratic equation by what we call the quadratic formula. And we can use the quadratic formula to solve for an unknown variable when something is unfactorable. So sometimes some equations are not factorable, and we can do solving by the quadratic equation. Now also, this x can be any unknown variable. So I just use x here, but any unknown variable. All right. Here, warm up. I've got 3 different ones solving. So this is doing by factoring. Again, I just did it quickly. So here you can see factor, and then you find the roots of each of the factors. Factor, find the roots of each factor. Same thing here. Factor, find the roots of each factor. I'm not going to go through that. That was in lesson 6, but lesson 7 we were going to use the quadratic formula. So instead of using factoring, sometimes we can use what we call the quadratic formula, and this is the quadratic formula right here. And let's quickly derive the quadratic formula. How do I derive it? So we're going to start with a quadratic equation in standard form: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Must be equal to 0 again for factoring. For solving anything, one side is equal to 0. First step we do is we're going to divide the first 2 terms by a. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to what we call complete the square. So divide the first 2 terms by a. So here I get a, and here I will have x squared plus bx over a plus c is equal to 0. Now I'm going to take the coefficient of my x here, half it, and square it. So here I'm going to have b over a divided by 2 squared, which is really b over a times 1 over 2 squared, which is really b over 2a squared, which is going to be b squared over 4a squared. So I'm going to add and subtract that inside the bracket. So here I'm going to have a. Then I will have x squared plus bx over a plus b squared over 4a squared minus b squared over 4a squared plus c equals 0. All right, what I've created here is a perfect square. These first 3 terms are going to be x plus b over 2a squared. There we go. Okay, so what do I have? I have a bracket. Here this will be x plus b over 2a squared. Then this will be still the minus b squared over 4a squared. And then this will be plus c is equal to 0. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both of these terms by a. So this guy gets multiplied by a, this guy gets multiplied by a. So what do I have now? I'm going to go all to blue here. So I'm going to have a x plus b, a b over 2a squared minus b squared over 4a plus c is equal to 0. All right. And again, the a being multiplied by the b squared over 4a squared, one of the a's cancels in the denominator. So there we go. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring these 2 things over to the other side. So here I'm going to have a. I will still have x plus b over 2a squared is equal to b squared over 4a plus c. I'm going to make common denominators here, so this is really over 1, so times by 4a times by 4a. Alright, so here I'm going to have this. I'm going to have a x plus b over 2a squared is equal to b squared plus 4ac all over 4a. Now I'm going to divide this side by a to get rid of that a there, which is in effect same as multiplying by 1 over a over this side. So here I will have, let's give me more room here, x plus b over 2a squared is equal to b squared plus 4ac all over 4a squared. Now I'm going to square root both sides to get rid of this. So on this side I'm going to have x plus b over 2a is equal to, now this is plus or minus, square root. This I cannot square root, so b squared minus, made a mistake here, didn't I? Yes, this should be minus, this is embarrassing. Minus, whoops. I just destroyed everything there. Minus. All right, so b squared minus c, and I made this over 1. So multiply, there we go. And so this here will be minus, and this will be minus, and then this will be minus 4ac. And then, but I can square at the bottom. So square root of 4a squared is 2a. And then I bring this over. So if I bring this over, you can see common denominator, which is nice. So here I get x is equal to, this will become negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And there's a quadratic formula. So that's how we get it. Apologize about that one mistake, but that's how we get from here to here by isolating. Again, we isolated for x, and there it is. All right, so I did one example for you. First thing you do is put it in standard form. That means that one side is equal to 0. So I've got 1 equals 0. Identify a, b, and c. Now I don't have the equation anywhere, so this is kind of silly. So let's start with what I actually have here. My equation would be something like this. Not a squared, x squared plus 6x minus 27 is equal to 0. So here is my a term, it is just 1. Here is my b term, it is 6. And here is my c term, it is negative 27. Substitute it in. When I do it, I would always do inside here, and we're going to learn about this. This is tomorrow. We're going to call this the discriminant. Or not tomorrow, but the next lesson we call discriminant. So I'd always do this first. So I'd actually take my calculator and do that. So here I'd have 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times, if we go over here, I believe it's negative 27. Yep, negative 27. So negative 27. And here I get 144. So really, what I get here, whoops. So this piece right here, instead of writing what I had wrote here, right, this right here is just 144. I'd square root it, so the square root of 144 is really going to be 12, and then I would do the plus side. So here I add them, here I subtract, and so I get two values of 3 and negative 9. So the roots are 3 and negative 9. Now the alternative is this is this, right, is factoring. So if I actually take the equation, x squared plus 6x minus 27 is equal to 0, right? So we can see we can factor this really quickly, which I would actually recommend. X and x, and then here this will be 9 and 3, but I want, so this is going to be 3x down here, this is going to be 9x here, and so I want to make it positive 6, so this is going to be minus, this is going to be minus, so this actually factors to x plus 9, x minus 3 is equal to 0, so my roots are x equals negative 9 and x is equal to 3. So you can do it much faster by factoring, but the quadratic formula works as well. All right, let's try this. So step 1, we want to get everything to one side. I'm actually going to send this guy over because it's negative. I want to always make my leading coefficient positive if possible. So you're going to have 0 is equal to 5x squared minus 8x. So I'm going to go from highest degree to lowest, degree 2, degree 1, and then plus 3. So there's step 1. Step 2, identify a, b, and c. So my a value is 5, my b value is negative 8, and my c value is 3. So here we're gonna put it now into the quadratic formula, which you can see I wrote up here for you. So I'm gonna have here x is equal to negative b, so it's really gonna be 8 plus or minus square root negative 8 squared minus 4 times 5 times 3 all over 2 times 5. So this is going to be 8 plus or minus. On the bottom here I've got a 10, and let's not waste any time. Let's put this in the calculator. So negative 8 squared is really 8 squared. It doesn't matter, it's going to be positive no matter what. Minus 4 times 5 times 3, and so here I get 4. Well, that's nice. So this is going to be square root of 4. Things are way too... Okay, and so what I can actually do then is I'm going to have x is equal to 8 plus or minus 2 over 10. So I'll get two answers. Here's the plus one. X is equal to 8 plus 2 over 10. X is equal to 10 over 10, which is just 1. The other answer here is going to be x is equal to 8 minus 2 over 10. X is equal to 6 over 10, which is really x is equal to 3 over 5. And so these are my two answers. My two answers are 1 and 3 over 5. Beautiful. Okay. Here's my next example. My next example says this. So I want to solve this using quadratic formula. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to FOIL it out. So this is really going to be x plus 3 equals 2x plus 5, 2x minus 5. So we're going to FOIL the left and right side. So here we're going to FOIL this side and FOIL this side. So here when I do that, I'm going to get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. On this side I'm going to get 4x squared minus 10x plus 10x minus 25. All right, so let's add like terms. X squared plus 6x plus 9 equals, here I'm going to get 4x squared. Oh, look at this. This is nice. Negative 10x, positive 10x gone, and then minus 25. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to subtract x squared from both sides. Here I am going to subtract 6x from both sides. There's no 6x formula, minus, there's no x term. And then here I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. So subtract 9. So what do I have here? On this side I'm going to have 0. On this side I'm going to have 3x squared minus 6x. As we minus 34. So there we go. So here I have my A, B, and C. Make sure you always include the sign in front. All right, step 2. That was step 2 actually. I'll put step 2 right here, is to identify A, B, and C. Step 3 is put it in the quadratic formula. So here x is equal to, so my B value is negative 6, so it's going to be positive 6. Always change the sign, plus or minus, square root, negative 6 squared, minus 4 times 3 times negative 34. And this is all over 2 times 3, 2 times A. Beautiful. So again, what I'm going to do is the discriminant first. Here's my discriminant. It's underneath the square root sign. So I'm going to take my calculator. Again, 6 squared is really just 6. Negative 6 squared is really 6 squared. So 6 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 34. So here I get 444. All right, so what do I have? I've got x is equal to 6 plus or minus square root 444 all over 6. Mr. Wills, can you cancel these 6's out? No. You have to add or subtract this first, which I cannot do. So I'll leave it as is. So here we go. Let's do the plus first. So here I'm going to have x is equal to 6 plus square root 444 all over 6. Let's do it. 6 plus the square root of 444 equals, and then divide it by 6. Now it gives me this nicely simplified, but I don't want that. I want actually a value. So 4.51. Let's go to 2 decimal places. So x is equal to approximately 4.51. Let's do the minus side of it. So x is equal to 6 minus square root 444 all over 6. So again, here's my calculator. So 6 minus square root 444 divided by 6. And I get here negative 2.51. And there are my two answers. Here's my first one, here's my second one. So I had to FOIL it out first, add like terms, and then solve. All right, let's do the last one. Find the x-intercepts of vertex blah 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 of this equation here. So again, what I'm going to do is take this side of my equation, I'm going to set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to solve it. But actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring everything to this side. All this is going to do is change the sign. So here I'm going to have 0 is equal to 5x squared minus 8x plus 3. And there we go. And let's go back to this. Beautiful. If you notice, I've already done this back in example 1. Here's my example 1. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go skip to the answer. It's 1 and 3 over 5. So see example 1. Is that really? Because what example is this? Okay. See example 1b, I guess. See example 1b. And so here I can see that x is equal to 1, x is equal to 3 over 5. So guess what, folks? These are my x-intercepts. So next thing I want is the equation of axis. How do I get the equation of axis? Add up my x-intercepts, 1 plus 3 over 5 divided by 2. So this is really going to be x is equal to, this is really going to be 5 over 5 plus 3 over 5. And then this guy here is just going to be divided by 2. So this is really going to be 8 over 5. And this is not really divided by 2, but times 1 over 2, which means x is equal to, I can cancel these out, so it's really 4, so 4 over 5. So this guy right here, this is the x value of vertex. So using the quadratic formula, I can actually find the x value of the vertex. And of course, how do I find the y value? Plug it in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my original equation, y equals -5, plug in 4 over 5 into my x's. Use my calculator, of course. So -5 bracket 4 divided by 5 squared plus 8, 4 divided by 5 minus 3. And here you can see my y value is 1 over 5. So that means my vertex is 4 over 5, 1 over 5. Done. And that's how we can actually find the x-intercepts, the axis symmetry, and also the vertex by using the quadratic formula. So it is possible. All right, homework, here it is. Oops, where's my homework? Here it is. So I would do, for here, I would do 3 of these. For this, so here I want the x-intercept, vertex, axis symmetry. So here I'd want you to do 3. And then here I would like you to do, we already did this one, so I'd like you actually to do this one here. Let's highlight it. Can you do this one, D and E for that? Thank you for watching.